Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of My Lost Dollar, an essay by Stephen Leacock. In this story, he tells about his relationship with his friend Toad. And what he is saying in this essay is, actually Stephen Leacock had lent Toad $1 about 1 year back. And now he fears that Toad will never return that amount at all. But at the same time, even though he has not returned the dollar, he says that they will always share the same friendship as usual. Now, $1 is a very small amount. So maybe Toad has forgotten to return that amount. Generally, we'll remember if we have borrowed a huge amount. But since it's $1, maybe he has taken for granted or maybe he has forgotten it. And he says, I remember very well that he borrowed this dollar last April when he was about to leave to Bermuda. At that time, I gave him this money. And only after giving it to him, he realized that he will never get it back because he thought when Toad took that $1 from him, he had the intention of returning it. But now it is more than 1 year. It's nearly 1 year. And he has not returned the dollar. Maybe he has the idea of not returning it at all. And he says Toad actually came back 3 weeks back. And the narrator, in fact, went to the train station itself to receive him. And he says, no, don't think I went to the station to ask for my dollar. Because he is my friend, I have great respect for him. I went to receive him. And that whole evening we spent together and we were discussing about Bermuda. And he said, I also discussed about the American dollar, thinking that that speech will remind him of the borrowed dollar from him. But the narrator also was not able to bring the topic and tell him that you borrowed $1 from me. And in fact, he went around the topic like asking about his cost, how much he spent for the trip, and whether the American dollar was equal to the dollar of their country. But he was not able to tell him that you borrowed $1 from me before going. And he says, okay, I don't have anything against him because he says this dollar is $1. People think it's a very small amount. But he has a list of people who have taken $1 from him and not given it back. And he says, at the same time, the narrator also has taken $1 from many people. And just like the people who had taken from him have forgotten it, he wishes that the people who gave him that $1 also should have forgotten this amount. And after that also he says, I met Toad frequently. And 2 nights ago also, he brought the topic of Poland and he said Poland never pays back the debts. So that he thought this will remind Toad about paying back the debt of $1 to him. And the narrator says that if Toad has to give him $1 and has forgotten it, he says they must be men whom he owes $1 and he has forgotten, and they must be such a big list. But he doesn't want to think about the people whom he has to return. And he also says that he had once forgotten $1, he should never pay it on this side of the grave. And he says if they are such men, then the narrator wants everyone to tell the number of people, it can even be in the alphabetical order, and write their names down on the paper. And he says he doesn't count men who may have lent him an odd dollar over a bridge table, because generally it happens during that game. And he says if any man ever lent him $1 to pay for a taxi when starting for Bermuda, he wants to pay it because he gave that money to Toad only in that way. So he says in the same manner, if I had borrowed money from anyone when I was leaving to Bermuda, which never happened, then I will give it back because I remember Toad. And in the end he says that the readers who are reading this, please don't leave this copy in a place so that it can be seen by Major Toad of the University Club of Montreal. So now he tells of actually who this Toad is and where he is to the readers, and he ends the essay. It's actually written in a very, very light vein. He doesn't mean to hurt anyone, but at the same time it reminds us that generally when it is a small amount, we tend to forget it. Whether we lend it or whether we borrow it, we tend to forget it. But at the same time, maybe that $1 may mean a lot to a person. Not like Stephen Leacock, but he says some people may expect you to return it back, and when you take it for granted, it is not a good habit. And this reminds us also of the habits which we have, because generally among friends, when we borrow a very small amount, a meager amount, we also take it for granted. And even when we lend it to others, we also take it for granted and we forget it. And this is what he has written in this essay. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.